Hi everybody, my name is Will, and Overwatch just dropped the gameplay for Hazard, the new tank hero. Let's break down to see what he's got in this one. I'm very excited. I saw it earlier. There's so much you could do.
Let's go on then.
Okay, alright, so first things first, in it, is obviously we're going to see him use the gun, and we're going to see him use his left arm. So what's interesting about this is that we have a new mobile hero that essentially can do that. So what that ability is essentially it is a leap, or as they would be calling it, a violent leap, where you lunge forward towards your enemies and you act, and you if you tap it again, you can attack them. Now it doesn't say anything specifically about it doing knockback, but we'll do some more research into it. However, this is interesting and is kind of cool considering that we haven't really had like a lot of dive heroes or a lot of heroes that can do this. So essentially now we have someone who can climb walls that's a tank that isn't a support or two DPSs. Now we have a tank that can do that as well. So, imagine the climbing everywhere as they go. It's like, what do we have for Overwatch 2 heroes that could do this? Not really. We have people who can do it, or heroes that can do it. We have Ball that can essentially get to high ground. Winston, Diva, and Doomfist are the prime examples of ones who are essentially dive heroes. Well, now with Hazard, we have to do that as well, which I'm pretty sure that could be used as a combination where you'll volt, leap, and then you could just climb up something pretty quickly to get to somebody, which is very exciting to me, and I really like that.
Come on.
So with Jagged Wall right there, essentially, see it is, if you guys ever played Overwatch 1, Orisa had that ability where she was able to toss a shield out. I see this as a combination of that, but instead of it being a barrier, it's a physical wall. So imagine it as a projectile version of Maze Wall, where it pushes you. Now, it would be interesting if this does damage to enemies, which would force them to not be able to go, or at least go near it. And I wonder if this is actually breakable and how much health it actually has, considering how it's a single object and where Maze is 5 objects individually, it's 5 pillars in a row. This is one pillar, essentially, but instead of it being in a rectangle, it's in a square. Let's follow some shapes, people. So I'm very interested in that. Considering you could use this in order to close off areas, or like as we saw, push, people off of ledges or off of areas, and then climb that. So here we have his primary weapon, which is going to be a shotgun-based ability. And I knew it was going to be like that, based on how, just from looking at it, that it was going to be a shotgun ability. And it was going to be the combination of like how Orisa has her gun. Well, he now has his, but it is probably got more ammo, or it could do a better damage than what Junker Queens can do. Or maybe instead of it being in a cone, it's in an oval shape. So that way it would have to be more precisely accurate at that when it comes to hitting them in the bodies. However, it also means that you probably can be able to shoot and cover a wider area with less damage fall off than with Junker Queen's, how hers is a cone, his would be, essentially in a line. And obviously we have the Violent Leap, which is the thing that's going to help you, essentially your movement ability, and you could be able to activate your melee attack. I'm pretty sure he has that melee attack, constantly anyway. Spike Guard. So Spike Guard essentially is, essentially combine it with Ramacha's block when he's in Nemesis form. However, where Ramacha is able to take a lot of damage, I think it's still 80% is damage reduction. I don't know what the numbers are for him. However, we now have the ability where you can defend yourself, but also still attacking. So essentially, you now have a defensive offensive ability, which I don't know what other heroes do, where you can essentially defend yourself while also and have damage reduction while still doing damage. I mean, Zarya's bubbles could count. Ramacha really can't. Ramacha is all in on defensive, and Zarya's is if you burst my bubble, I could melt you down, but I'll die if you kill me if I have low health. And if I'm using it to retreat, well, then you already know that I have low health and I'm not going to try to fight you because maybe my energy output isn't going to be enough to actually beat you, or you waited out my bubbles and then you killed me anyway. So I like this ability because it helps reward essentially like the aggression Doomfist also has that, but his charges up his abilities. So nobody really has an ability where they defend themselves and also attack at the exact same time, which is what his Spike Guard is doing. However, you gotta remember, just like Ramantra's, it only defends you and reduces damage from the front. Same for Doomfist as well. If you attack him from behind, that negates the ability for you to actually, like, do anything in terms of reducing damage. So if they surround you, you're kind of screwed. Now, what I'm curious about that ability specifically is how much damage does it output? How much total damage does it do? If you're fighting and you use it against all 5 of them, does it do equal amounts of damage where it distributes it, or it's a total amount of damage it gives out per person? Earlier or later in the video, we'll see that they use it on some bots, and we know the bots have what, 200 health, maybe 250. I'm pretty sure it's 200, but it was able to kill both of those. And seeing how much damage she actually is able to do with that, and if it's distributed amongst bots or essentially amongst players. Because if you're able to solo it against somebody, then effectively you can then kill that squishy. However, if it's having to be split amongst other players, other enemies, does that mean then the damage has to be split amongst all of them? That's a very curious question, as opposed to how broken this thing is. Because, I mean, if it's a homing thing, obviously it can't do a lot of damage, otherwise it would be broken. But how does it play out specifically when it's 1 versus 2?
I'll give you a slap.
Obviously we have that. Obviously you'll automatically have a melee. Now his ultimate, very interesting. Downpour. Now, I had hypothesized on this, and I'll give you a second about this. So let's watch this. So obviously it's going to hold them in place. Essentially, think of it as jumper traps, but only for 2 seconds.
You know I'm the best.
And there's Hazard. So let's watch this.
Where it came from. Yeah, Hazard's this hybrid brawl / dive tank. A lot of his abilities are actually offensive and defensive abilities. You know, I think you saw there when he was hunking over with the spikes. He's having damage resistance during that, but also doing damage in front of him. Now,
so here's a list of his abilities.
Hazard does how he interacts with the map terrain. You know, he was vaulting, climbing on the wall, shooting the wall into ceilings and walls and everywhere. So that's really awesome. He can get around everywhere.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how players kind of interact with the different map terrain and especially around that wall. But why don't you just walk us through some of all the abilities in his kit so everybody gets a better understanding of what it means?
Yeah, as I said, the bread and butter of his kit is going to be this jagged wall. That's going to be something you're going to be able to block off chokes with. It's going to be really good for your mobility. It's the thing that defines Hazard as a tank. It's the tool that he always has at his disposal, right? And
yeah, his ability. Know what cooldown is going to be on though.
Really where his mobility shines. He's able to violently jump and then hit his ability again to then slash. So he does a lot of damage, knocks back some folks as well.
So as you can see right here, we have Volt, Wall, obviously defensive spikes. So regular attack. So he has 8 shots, so just like Jagger Queen. Now, question is,
and Vault.
Oh, and then here is the reticle, as you can see right there. It is not in a circle. It is in an oval.
That's just a passive that he has. It's kind of like a wall climb, a little bit shorter because he's a big guy. But he's able to use that. He can climb his own wall, climb little ledges.
And then looking at how that was, it's on a 5-second cooldown. That is not a lot. That is shorter than Winston's leap. Granted, it doesn't go as far as Winston's leap, or as far as you can with Diva. And I doubt that you can go in so high that you can essentially clear obstacles. But it is, good for at least short distances.
When you use all 3 of those together, he can be an absolute menace.
Yeah, and that
which
wall
is obviously
is so
20 meters.
You can put it on any surface, so it can pop out of a vertical wall. You can put it on a ceiling.
So you can climb and then climb again, and then leap all the way over there. Actually, I think that's even further than 20 meters. But then again, he has height.
Is the wall like a placeable, like a May wall, or is it like a projectile?
It's a projectile.
Oh,
so you can shoot wherever you want, and then it will spawn there once it actually reaches that place.
Genji's out there looking for
you can deflect
TikTok clip.
Diva can eat it too.
Yes. So that's the thing. Diva can also eat this because it is technically classified as a projectile.
The defense matrix as well. So, Bone Spur, that's the primary fire. How does the gun really work?
Okay, so his primary fire, the weapon, Bone Spur, it's this mid-range shotgun, and what it does is it fires like this burst of spikes. And so we think that Hazard's going to be a bit better at poke.
Okay, so that's his health. So by the looks of it, what is it? 1, 2, 9. So he has 20 bars, and he has 11 of them being health, and 9 of them being, what is it? Armor. So what is it? He's gonna have 265 health and 235 armor, based on at least from looking at it right now.
Than somebody like Roadhog or Junker Queen.
So obviously that's
but
that gets
his
depleted.
sweet
And wait, hold on. How long ago? How long does that last?
somebody like Roadhog or Junker Queen, but
It's on a 1 second cooldown.
his sweet spot still is
2,
just like
3,
up close
4,
and personal
5. So it takes
gameplay.
about
And,
5
like, an example
seconds,
of that is another
maybe
one of his
6,
abilities,
for you to
Spike
get that
Guard.
ability
And
again.
so with Spike Guard, he kind of goes into like a defensive mode. He hunkers down, and it reduces damage from the front, and it like pretty drastically reduces it. And then at the
Okay.
same time, he'll be shooting homing spikes at all nearby enemies.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's like what you were talking about, Alec, where it's kind of the merge of defensive and offensive abilities.
Yeah, and when he's actually using Spike Guard, he's reloading his ammo. So a lot of things what you want to do if Hazard in a fight, you shoot a bunch and then you dive in, you then use Spike Guard, regenerate some of the ammo, go back to primary fire, then back to Spike Guard. So you have to be really cycling through his abilities pretty well. You can sustain yourself.
And then I'm sure everybody wants to know about the ultimate. Well, what's Hazard's ultimate? It looked crazy there.
Yeah, that's downpour. So it's this big area in front of you, shoots down this range.
So before we move on from that, the fact is that thing takes 5 to 6 seconds to fully recharge for his spike guard, with a 1 second cooldown. Means that you can unload your shotgun, use spike guard, unload it again, drop a wall, leap, shotgun, spy, and then do your guard again. That's 3 instances of guard that you can do while being able to keep yourself safe. And by the time you finish using spike guard, your leap should be up. And that means that anybody who didn't die, you can leap after them and get them and then finish them off with the shotgun. By the time you're done with that, your jagged wall should be up again. So that's the cooldown cycle. Shotgun, spikes, shotgun again, jagged wall, leap, spikes, and then shotgun, spikes. Oh, and then leap. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, no, that's right? Because once your spikes are done, by that time your leap will be done, and then you could shotgun again. That's 8 things you could do, and then 9 possibly if you have your wall up by that time. That's crazy. That is a lot of APM right there.
As well as maybe even keep SK safe. There's so much aim. Henry's already gotten a big pick on a J3.
And no
How long
one
does it
was
last?
surprised to see Jay die first.
Okay.
Big pick on a J3.
And no one was surprised to see Jay die first.
So it's a 14-second cooldown, possibly a 12-second cooldown, based on it started at 7 at the halfway point.
Henry with a
So
nice
it's a
little pick.
long
Steve Johnny
cooldown. There's a
turns
very
in
long
and
cooldown.
running right now, Jake right up in the back line, exactly where he needs to be. Don't beat up my boy Danny. Danny does manage to get out of there. Nice little speed from him as well. Jake hits the violent lead to get out of there. He puts up a small
How much
wall.
health does that thing have?
Jagger wall to get in the pistol shots.
Oh, it
at
really
least.
doesn't.
As
Yeah,
a
I haven't
team-
been able to see what that
Reinforce so close, that pulse bomb hit.
Wait, hold on. That was.
Downpours are coming up as well. Reinforce so close, that pulse bomb.
Oh, it broke it. So then it probably has. What is it? Her ability is 300 for her ult for Tracer? Or is it 400? It's either between 300 and 400 health, so it's not a lot of health. It's essentially probably what May's old walls used to be. Nah, not even then. Oh wow, so you can like break it really well. If it's 400 health, it won't take that long for you to destroy it. However, by the time you finish destroying it, it will be already halfway up.
I'm excited to see this downpour though. Johnny's gonna be
Wasn't quite enough.
Ooh,
A
can
rare
we see
connection
it?
for the
Let's see. It doesn't show anything on there.
pulse bomb.
I'm excited
And it doesn't show what the health is. And like there it is. It's already at 9 seconds. So it's got to be like
this
a
downpour,
12-second
though. Johnny's
cooldown.
gonna be first.
That's crazy. Well, there you go. That's all of his abilities right there. 400 to 3 to 400 health for his. No, go ahead and show it here. 3 to 400 health for this. This one has the has a 1 second cooldown and lasts for what 5 seconds and takes 6 seconds to come back up. So obviously it's not gonna do a lot of damage. However, it's able to kill at least. It's able to do 400 damage. And obviously this one is a line in terms of shotgun versus Junker Queen or even Doomfist circles. And then you have Downpour, his ultimate, which goes through walls and roots people in place for 2 seconds. His ability to actually climb walls, his ability to leap from a distance and actually do damage. That is crazy. So as long as you cycle your abilities correctly, he essentially is going to be very difficult to kill because he's going to constantly lay into damage. Now the question is, what heroes can counter him? And I will be looking into that to see what happens. But that's it from this video. My name is Will, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.